Good afternoon. My name is Martin Straka. I've been in the mortgage business since 1990, and people ask me a lot of questions during the process of looking at mortgages and whether or not they should buy a home. And so I just want to take a few moments just to address some of the questions that often come up my way. Let's just start. I've got a friend of mine helping me here, and let's just start with shooting some questions.
Well, when I get clients who are looking to buy a house, one of their first questions is, should I pay points on a mortgage? What are points?
Well, it's a very good question. Points, easiest to translate, is sort of like a slang figure, and it stands for paid on interest up front. So points, P-O-I-N-T. And you have to be careful because we use the same words in different areas when we talk about interest rates and costs, and you'll hear the word point tossed around a lot. But basically a point is a slang term, and what it represents is you're paying a percentage of the loan amount up front as part of your closing costs in exchange for a lower interest rate.
So how should they decide if they're going to pay points or just get no point loan?
Well, one of the most important things to determine before you should consider whether or not to pay points is whether or not you can afford to pay the points. Let's say, for example, if you were getting ready to purchase a $300,000 home and your normal costs to acquire that house between down payment and closing costs were going to be $30,000. Well, in order for you to pay, let's say, an extra point, and if you were going to borrow $200,000, 1 point represents 1% of the loan amount, so 1 point would equal $2,000. That would now mean that you need $32,000 in order to complete the purchase rather than just $30,000. And if you were going to pay 2 points, well, then you'd be adding 2 times 200,000, 2% of that is $4,000, so now you need $34,000. So one of the important things, most important questions when thinking about points is whether or not you even have the money to pay them. Now the fun thing about points, and there's never a simple answer when it comes to mortgage financing, sadly, because there's too many things to consider. If you were to talk to an accountant, different accountants would give you different opinions as to whether or not you should pay points. But basically, you could take that $4,000, pay it up front, borrow a little bit less money. Will that save you money over time? Well, the real answer comes down to how long you're going to stay in your home. In the long run, if you can buy a lower interest rate by paying some additional points, over time, that will usually give you a better benefit.
Is there a simple rule of thumb, like how many years I'm going to live in the house, something like that, that would make sense?
Well, my personal opinion is that you should almost never pay more than 2 points. It just takes too long to get back a return on the money. Basically, for every 1/2 of a point or for every 1/2 of a percentage of the loan amount that you pay up front, you're going to typically lower the interest rate by about 1/8 of a percent. So if you were to pay a full point, 1% of the loan amount, you're going to lower the interest rate on the loan by about 1/4 of a percent. And realistically, it just comes down to simple math. Again, let's use the example of borrowing $200,000. If you're going to borrow $200,000 and you're going to pay 4 points, that's going to be allowing you to lower the interest rate by 1/2 of a percent. Well, that's going to turn around and save you about $1,000 just in the first year, just in interest. So you look at the math. I'm going to pay $4,000 up front, and then I'm going to turn around and save over the course of 4 years or so enough money in my monthly payments that I'm going to get that whole $4,000 back. And then for as long as you have that mortgage in place, you're going to continue to save that money.
That sounds like good information. How can I get a hold of you to get more information about mortgages in general?
Well, if you ever have a question, feel free to reach out to the realtor that shared this information with you, or you can call me. My name is Martin Straka. My telephone number is 973-598-5006. Again, that's 973-598-5006, and I hope this information was helpful to you.
Thank you very much.